The top stories tonight in Y News. Olympic gold medalist Hidilyn Diaz has no plans of retiring yet from weightlifting despite the struggle she had faced before making history for the Philippines. But what would be next for the Pinay athlete?
Malacanang admits that national team athletes are not getting enough financial support from the Philippine government.
The Philippine National Police will conduct a probe on the 9 police generals allegedly involved in the illegal drugs trade. Vice President Leni Robredo calls on the government to end divisiveness amid the health crisis, saying policy recommendations for a strengthened COVID-19 response will soon be published by her office.
The Philippine Genome Center seeks additional funding for its expanded capacity to detect COVID-19 variants in the country.
And Bhutan fully vaccinates all adults in 1 week. Good evening, Philippines and the world. We are now reporting live from Eton Centris in Quezon City, and today is Tuesday, July 27, 2021. I am William Theo.
Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the country and in other parts of the world. I'm Angelo Castro III.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts and our website, untvweb.com. I'm Herlene Delgado.
We begin our stories tonight with the historic achievement of Filipina weightlifter Hidilyn Diaz after bagging the first gold medal of the Philippines in the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Diaz says that despite the struggles in her Olympic stint, she still has no plans of retiring from the sport. Janice Inhente will tell us why.
Hidilyn Diaz will continue to pursue her passion and represent the Philippines in international weightlifting competitions. After bagging the country's first Olympic gold medal, Diaz says she has a lot more to offer.
Hindi ako magsa-stop kasi kaya ko pa. Nakita ko yung galing ko and alam ko may ibibigay pa ako para sa Pilipinas. Hindi pwedeng after winning susuko na ako. Alam niyo naman na I need to still continue to inspire the young generation to still dream. Standard ng sports bababa, so kailangan tuloy-tuloy hanggang sa may susunod sa akin.
Diaz is sure to compete in next year's Southeast Asian or SEA Games, but she can't say yet if she'll be back for the Paris 2024 Olympics. The Philippine weightlifting queen set the Olympic record for the clean and jerk with a gold medal clinching lift of 127 kilograms and a total of 224 kilograms in the women's 55 kilogram event. Diaz, who struggled to fund her Tokyo Olympic stint, is expected to receive at least 33 million pesos and new condominiums and house and lot. But according to the athlete, she is not yet sure of what to do with her earnings, despite many trials including the severe challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. Diaz did not give up on achieving her dream of winning the gold medal and giving honor to the Philippines.
Gusto kong sabihin sa lahat ng mga Pilipino, walang imposible. Marami tayong pinagdadaanan ngayon dahil sa pandemic, pero tingnan nyo, kahit nasa pandemic na kaya natin, na-survive ko, na-survive ng Team HD, na-survive ng Pilipinas. Nagawa natin kahit sabihin na nasa pandemic nandito tayo and risky, pero naiuwi natin ang medalya. Walang imposible.
Meanwhile, the mother of Hidilyn Diaz is overjoyed after her daughter's gold medal finish. Emelita Diaz say she have been always praying for her safety and success.
Hay, congratulations na kaya pwede to liba el medalya de el gold medal is de Tokyo para na Philippines. Congratulations, Ale.
Diaz and her team will be leaving Japan tomorrow, Wednesday, under Olympic rules and will undergo a 7-day hotel quarantine upon arrival in the Philippines. Janice Inhente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, Malacanang admits that the national team athletes are not getting enough financial support from the government. Palace spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque also distances himself from the previous inclusion of Hidilyn Diaz in the Aus Duterte matrix. Rosalie Cos explains why.
A game changer for Philippine sports. This is the statement of the presidential spokesperson following the first ever Olympic gold medal for the Philippines through prominent weightlifter Hidilyn Diaz.
I think itong victory na ito is also a game changer for Philippine sports. Ito po yung dahilan siguro dahilan para pag-isipan ng ating mga policy makers na kinakailangan talaga maglaan ng mas malaking suporta sa ating mga atleta dahil yung kanila namang mga panalo ay panalo ng buong Pilipinas at hindi lang ng ating mga manlalaro.
Presidential spokesperson Roque acknowledges the government has insufficient support for Filipino athletes. The palace promises to look into plans to increase the allowances of our national team athletes.
Parang nga pong minimum wage nga lang ang nabibigay nating allowance doon sa mga atleta natin. Titignan po natin kung paano natin na mababago ito dahil napakita natin na kung kulang, na ganung kulang talaga ang suporta natin na nanalo pa rin ng ginto, siguro mas maraming mananalo ng ginto, no, kung medyo itataas natin yung tulong na ibinibigay natin sa mga atleta.
On the other hand, the palace official refused to apologize and distance himself from the inclusion of Diaz in the Aus Duterte matrix revealed by Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Secretary Salvador Panelo in May 2019, the former presidential spokesperson. Among the challenges Diaz had while training for the Tokyo Olympics 2020 was when her name was tagged in the so-called black propaganda against the Duterte administration.
Hindi ko po alam kung ano yung sinasabi niyong matrix kasi sa tanggapan ko po at iisa lang pong opisyal na spokesperson ng gobyerno, ako lang po yun, wala po kaming ganyan.
Secretary Panelo, who linked Diaz, was silent on the issue but released a statement saying the Pinay weightlifter's achievement serves as an inspiration to all Filipino athletes. Meanwhile, the palace did not give details as to how much total incentives Diaz will get from the government and private sector following her Olympic feat. Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Senate has adopted 12 resolutions congratulating and commending the country's first Olympic gold medalist, Hidilyn Diaz. According to the senators, the victory of Diaz has lifted the hopes of Filipinos amid this challenging time. They also honored the Filipino Olympian for her determination, sacrifices, and dedication in fulfilling her dream. Senate Minority Leader Franklin Drilon also commends Diaz as she remained focused in bringing honor for the country despite being linked in the alleged Aus Duterte matrix in 2019. Senator Richard Gordon has also proposed for a commemorative stamp for Diaz. Senator Panfilo Lacson, meanwhile, recommends to the Philippine Air Force to commission Sergeant Diaz as an officer of the armed forces. Meanwhile, several senators also filed a resolution seeking to establish a Senate Medal of Honor in recognition of outstanding athletes, uniformed personnel, scientists, and exceptional youth and civilians. As the elections and the budget seasons draw near, the Philippine Senate aims to finish in a few months the priority measures that were requested by President Rodrigo Duterte during his final State of the Nation address yesterday. This report will tell us why.
Senate President Vicente Soto III plans for the Senate to tackle all the priority measures before the House transmits the 2022 national budget. This as the election season approaches. Some of the bills included in the wish list of President Rodrigo Duterte are the Retail Trade Liberalization Act, which is pending at the bicameral conference level, the Foreign Investments Act, and the Public Services Act, which are both pending for the second reading approval.
Pipilitin namin before the budget. It's not really the filing. I don't know. I'm not too concerned about the timetable of the filing of the certificate of candidacy. We have to work first.
However, if they fail to do so, Soto says they will find time to finish the bills in between the budget deliberations, especially during the BICAM. The Senate leader also vowed to prioritize the Department of Overseas Filipinos and Migrant Workers, which the president also asked for during his SONA. Senate Committee on Labor Chairperson Joel Villanueva is hopeful that they could finish the plenary debates in the coming months, noting that the measure was certified by the president as urgent. Meanwhile, for the proposed Center for Disease Control and Prevention in the country, Senator Christopher Bongo, who also sits as the Committee on Health Chairperson, says it is now pending at the Technical Working Group. However, the senator did not provide details when the bill is expected to be reported to the plenary. The Senate has resumed its session after it opened the third and final regular session of the 18th Congress yesterday ahead of the President's SONA. Jorlene Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
In other news, despite not being mentioned in President Rodrigo Duterte's SONA, the government's task force on constitutional reform says the proposed economic charter change remains to be the priority of the executive branch. However, chances of Congress passing the reform are shrinking. Nel Maribuhok explains why.
The Interagency Task Force on Constitutional Reform or IATF Core called on the Senate to tackle the resolution which proposes amendments to the economic provisions of the Philippine Constitution. According to Department of the Interior and Local Government or DILG Undersecretary Jonathan Malaya, there's a need for a long-term solution to help the economy recover amid the pandemic.
Our hope is for the Committee on Constitutional Amendments of the Senate to immediately call for hearings dito sa topic na ito on resolution of both houses number 2 para sana bago pa man mag-file ng certificates of candidacy ay naipasa na sa Senado ito.
Malaya emphasized the need to approve the economic chacha as part of the economic reform of the government. This is aside from the proposed amendments to the Foreign Investments Act, Retail Trade Liberalization Act, and Public Service Act.
Isipin nyo na lang yung posisyon ng ating Kongreso. Gusto nilang damihan yung mga public utilities na pwede nating pumasok ang mga namumuhon ng dayuhan, ngunit it may be questioned in court if the fundamental law of the land is not changed.
Under the resolution of both houses number 2, the phrase unless otherwise provided by law would be added to the restrictive provisions of the Constitution that limit foreign investors' participation. On the other hand, Malaya admit they are also worried on the fate of the economic chacha.
Chance or the opportunity for reform is shrinking. Kasi ito na nga yung huling taon ng ating Duterte administration. And the administration has made this one of the pillars of the change.
But according to Representative Alfredo Garbin Jr., chairperson of the House Committee on Constitutional Amendments, the Senate has enough time to tackle the resolution.
Yung February, bago kami mag-recess for the national campaign, eksakto lang yon for 90 days. Or, pwede rin magkaroon ng special session for its approval sa March.
According to Senate President Vicente Sotto III, indeed, there is enough time, but the next challenge is the plebiscite.
Pero sa pag-uusap namin ni Speaker Lord Alan Velasco, we have plenty of time to discuss it because at the latest, dapat ito maipasa namin ito ng February before the break because it is a simple joint resolution, but it needs a plebiscite.
Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Philippine National Police or PNP welcomed President Rodrigo Duterte's push for free legal assistance for police officers and soldiers who are facing charges related to the performance of their official duties. In a statement, PNP Chief General Guillermo Eleazar expressed his gratitude to the President's move, which he said will be a big help to police personnel. In his last State of the Nation address, President Duterte urged Congress to pass a law that would provide free legal assistance to the personnel of both the military and police who face complaints from incidents related to their work. The PNP chief also thanked Duterte for pushing for the passage of a unified pension system for all uniformed personnel. Eleazar assured that the PNP would participate in discussions on these proposed legislations before Congress.
For those watching our 24/7 live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook. The Philippine National Police will conduct an investigation into President Rodrigo Duterte's revelation that 9 police generals are allegedly involved in the illegal drugs trade. Leia Ilagan reports.
Philippine National Police Chief Police General Guillermo Eleazar reiterates that no rogue cops are worthy of staying in the police organization. Eleazar has ordered a thorough investigation on President Rodrigo Duterte's claim in his SONA that 9 police generals are involved in drug trafficking.
Hindi titigil ang inyong PNP sa paglansag ng mga sindikato na patuloy na nagpapalusot ng supply ng iligal na droga sa ating bansa at pati na rin sa kanilang mga kasabwat sa gobyerno, lalong-lalo na sa PNP.
The PNP chief also admits that there is no instant solution to the illegal drug problem in the country.
Hanggat may mga gumagamit, patuloy na magiging isang lucrative business ito sa mga sindikato.
Despite receiving criticisms over the PNP's war against drugs, Eleazar said there has been a significant decrease in the supply and demand of illegal drugs in the country in the last 5 years.
Nagresulta naman sa napalaking pagbaba ng kriminalidad. We in the Philippine National Police intend to sustain these gains.
Meanwhile, in an interview, DILG Secretary Eduardo Año said the 9 narco generals tagged by the President has long been retired from service and some are still facing criminal charges. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Vice President Leni Robredo delivered her report to the nation today, detailing her response and recommendations to the national government amid the pandemic. Ray Palayo reports why.
A day after President Rodrigo Duterte's State of the Nation address, Vice President Leni Robredo also delivers her Ulat ni Leni speech. According to VP Robredo, despite the long hour speech, there are still key points that the President failed to emphasize. Robredo on her speech acknowledged the efforts of medical frontliners amid the pandemic.
Ang totoo, Pilipino ang tumulong sa kapwa Pilipino. Pilipino ang sumalo sa kapwa Pilipino. Nakaraos lang tayo sa nakaraang 1.5 taon dahil sa lakas na ibinigay natin sa isa't isa. Humaharap po ako sa inyo ngayon para idiin. Maraming salamat sa inyo.
The Vice President lamented that despite having a limited budget, several projects were initiated by her office to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Ang budget namin, tiwala. Ang makinarya namin, taong nagkakawang gawa. Can you imagine kung ano pa ang kaya nating gawin kung lahat, pati mga desisyon at pulisiya ng gobyerno, ay ganitong klaseng pagbabayanihan din ang tutok?
Robredo also vowed to publish several recommendations made by her office that the national government can implement. Among these is a system on how to fasten the COVID-19 testing, contact tracing, and vaccination efforts in the country, and how to help the small business sector and workers.
Marami po dito, iminungkahi na rin ng iba't ibang eksperto at sektor. Ang sa atin lang, kung hindi pa nagagawa, simulan na. Kung nasimulan na, paigtingin pa.
The official further called on the national government to stop pushing divisiveness and focus instead of addressing the pandemic.
Ang napapansin natin, sa tuwing may problema, para bang ang unang impulse ng iba, hanapin kung sino ang sisisihin, sino ang huhulihin, kaninong kritiko susunod na itututok ang mga troll.
Ray Palayo, UNTV News and Rescue, We serve the people. We give glory to God.
President Rodrigo Duterte, in his SONA speech, downplayed again the importance of the 2016 arbitral ruling, saying that the arbitration between the Philippines and China never occurred. According to a maritime expert, such remarks could affect the country's position in the disputed West Philippine Sea. Dante Amento tells us why.
President Rodrigo Duterte reassured the public in his last SONA that he is not relinquishing the West Philippine Sea to China. However, China has repeatedly ignored the 2016 Permanent Court of Arbitration ruling, while the Philippine government continued to resolve the issue peacefully.
What will I do with a document that is not bind China because they were never a part of that arbitration? There was really no arbitration at all because it was only the Philippine side was served.
National Union of People's Lawyers or NUPL chairperson Attorney Nery Colmenares believes that there is a reason behind the president's stance.
In fact, based sa research nga, 3 beses sila nag-meet ng Chinese ambassador nung mga panahon yon. So ako, malakas ang paniwala ko na may ginawang ganong klaseng tulong ang China at gagawin niya ng China sa 2022 para ma-ensure na ang presidente ay Duterte pa rin.
Attorney J. Batongbakal, director of the UP Institute for Maritime Affairs and Law of the Sea, says the president's pronouncement will affect the country's position in the West Philippine Sea. Batongbakal added that although China did not participate in the arbitration, the Permanent Court of Arbitration ruling cannot be set aside even by China because they were allowed by the court to present their arguments against the Philippines' claim.
Ayon naman dun sa rules of procedure ng arbitration na yon at ayon din sa UNCLOS, hindi dahilan yon para mawalang visa yung arbitration. Pangalawa, hindi rin totoo na hindi naman daw kinonsider yung mga argumento, yung panig ng China. Sa katotohanan, yung arbitration tribunal talagang hinanap ang lahat ng posibleng argumento in favor of China.
President Duterte also stressed that he cannot enforce the arbitral award against China nor he can afford to go to war. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Malacanang assures that President Rodrigo Duterte is in good condition and the public should not worry about his health. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
Malacanang denied reports that President Rodrigo Duterte was rushed to a hospital yesterday after his last State of the Nation address. The chief executive in his SONA joked about his health.
Hindi na ako makapronounce ng buti, baka mayroon na ako. May ambulansya ba dyan? Mukhang iba na ang... I cannot pronounce the words. I hope this is not a symptomatic.
Before this, the president appeared to lose his balance while on his way to the podium at the session hall in Batasang Pambansa. But according to Malacanang, the president merely slipped because of the carpet. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque also said after the SONA, the president stayed at Batasang Pambansa to meet with some lawmakers until 8:30 p.m. The palace assured there's nothing to worry about the health condition of the president.
Wala naman pong problema sa kalusugan ng ating presidente. Nadulas lang po yun.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
After 2 long years of investigation, Vatican's biggest criminal trial will be held against 10 Catholic clergymen and individuals accused of corruption and fraud. Joselito Liquida will give us the details live. Yes, Joselito, go ahead.
William, 10 individuals, including a cardinal, will answer accusations to the series of financial scandals in a trial which opened today in a modified courtroom in the Vatican museums. The investigation conducted by the Vatican prosecutors exposed the secret dealings and flawed financial structure involving over 350 million euros or $413.3 million of donations. Cardinal Angelo Beccio, a well-known Italian cardinal, and two top financial intelligence officials were among the 10 people sent to trial with charges including extortion, money laundering, fraud, abuse of power, and embezzlement. Pope Francis has secured Beccio's resignation and stripped him of his rights as a cardinal. Some evidence against him were also presented, but the former cardinal allegedly denied any wrongdoings. The 10 individuals will face imprisonment sentences and fines if convicted. Back to you, William.
Yes, thank you, Joselito Licudo, reporting live. Meanwhile, Thailand has been seeing a steady increase in the number of COVID-19 cases for the past few weeks. Charis Longbowen will give us the details live. Yes, Charis, good evening. Go ahead.
Good evening, William. From last year's first wave of COVID-19 being handled well by Thailand, now the country faces a surge of infections, which is believed to be caused by the virus's variants, according to WHO Thailand Health Emergencies Program Manager, Dr. Richard Brown.
I think, the main reason this has happened is because of the emergence of the variants. And although, we know that viruses change, that they evolve over time, but I think probably many of us did not fully anticipated what would happen and the impact that it was likely to have.
Yesterday's 15,376 record did not only make the country's total cases past the 500,000 mark, but also became the highest recorded daily COVID-19 case to date. Bangkok has the highest number of cases throughout the country, from which Thailand's Rural Doctor Society reports that over 13% of people in its 40 high-density communities were found to be infected upon screening. Hospital beds in the country's capital also reaches its critical level, leading to Bangkok Metropolitan Administration's plan to open 53 community isolation centers by early next month. As of today, there are a total of 526,828 COVID-19 cases in Thailand. 171,921 of them are currently receiving treatment, and 4,264 have died due to the virus. William?
Yes, Charis, what is the status of the vaccination efforts in Thailand to help control the spread of COVID-19 in the country?
William, almost 16.1 million COVID-19 vaccine doses were already administered as of latest report. More than 12.4 million of them are first dose, while only around 3.6 million were administered with second vaccine dose. More vaccine doses from Pfizer and AstraZeneca are expected to be delivered to the country this week. Vaccine registration is also now open for foreigners 60 years old and above residing in Bangkok and its neighboring provinces. William?
Yes, thank you, Charis Longbowen, reporting live from Bangkok, Thailand. The Himalayan kingdom of Bhutan successfully vaccinates its entire adult population against COVID-19 within a week, an achievement the country has reached first. Marvi Delfin will tell us why live. Yes, Marvi, go ahead.
William, the remote Himalayan kingdom of Bhutan becomes the first country to fully vaccinate all adults against COVID-19, with an impressive rollout hailed as a success story by UNICEF. With a population of 770,000 and relatively few doctors and nurses, the country's aim to complete second dose vaccinations was done in just 1 week. Bhutan had initially completed first dose vaccinations for majority of the adult population in March using donated vaccines from India, but surging cases abruptly halted international exports. The Bhutanese sought a request for vaccine supply to meet their deadline for the second dose round through the World Health Organization's COVAX initiative for developing countries. Just after 2 days, multiple countries, including the US, Denmark, Croatia, Bulgaria, and China, came to their aid with a flood of Moderna, AstraZeneca, Pfizer, and Sinopharm donations, amounting to around 500,000 available doses. UNICEF's Bhutan representative Will Parks praised the country and those who aided in this great success. This, Parks says, is a lesson to other nations, expounding that a committed government is key to being able to move a whole society, and that vaccinating a whole country is not impossible. William?
Yes, Marby, what are the current COVID-19 statistics for the Kingdom of Bhutan?
William, Bhutan has reported around 2,500 infections so far and 2 deaths linked to COVID-19. The low infection rate is said to be influenced by the country's long-standing limitation on tourism numbers, as well as closing their borders due to the pandemic. Back to you, William.
Yes, thank you. Marvy Delfin reporting live from Australia.
The Philippine Genome Center, or PGC, is seeking additional funds for its genome sequencing, which identifies the type of COVID-19 variant a person has. Aiko Miguel will tell us why live. Aiko, how much does the PGC need and why do they need it?
Yes, Diego, according to Dr. Eva Maria Cotionco de la Paz of UP National Institutes of Health, the genome sequencing laboratories in Visayas and Mindanao will need 50 million pesos each this year. De la Paz said that additional laboratories would help the country sequence more samples and detect the areas with COVID-19 variants, especially now that there are already recorded Delta variant cases in the country. Here is Dr. Eva Maria Cotionco de la Paz of the UP National Institutes of Health and member of the IATF on COVID-19 variants.
Right now, operational na yung mga labs na yon, no? Marami na silang ginagawang mga research projects. In fact, malaki ang natulong ng Philippine Genome Center, Visayas and Mindanao sa ating pagtitrain upang mas marami pa pong ma-open na mga laboratorio na magkakagawa ng RT-PCR testing. Meron pang tao, no? So, marami po siyang maraming budget concerns. At least pagka doon, the samples para makakat short din yung time na kasi doon na siya isi-sequence.
However, Diego, the Philippine Genome Center does not know yet where to source their funds. PGC is open for donations. They will also try to ask the Department of Science and Technology and the Department of Health how to make this work and have funds. Currently, only the Philippine Genome Center main office in Quezon City is sequencing the samples in the country. Here is Dr. Cynthia Saloma, the Executive Director of the Philippine Genome Center.
Yung pinakamura, pinakamabilis na pwedeng gawin, 50 million each lab, that will make them able to sequence 50 samples, 100 samples a week. So 50-50, 2 runs for the rest of the year. Not just for the equipment, pero pati na yung mga kits.
Diego, as of July 24, 2021, there are now 119 Delta cases in the country. 12 are active cases. 103 have recovered and 4 succumbed to the Delta variant. And that is the latest live. Back to you, Diego.
Thank you for that report, Aiko Miguel.
The Department of Health warned local government units, particularly in Metro Manila, about the increasing COVID-19 cases amid the threat of the Delta variant. The Opto Research Group, on the other hand, recommends anticipatory, preventive, and circuit-breaking lockdown in areas with an increasing COVID-19 cases. Marvin Canas reports.
Intensifying the preventive measures against COVID-19 by the local government units was reiterated by Health Secretary Francisco Duque III in relation with the growing number of COVID-19 cases in the country, including Metro Manila. Secretary Duque says the case recorded in National Capital Region increased to 47% in the last week, prompting DOH to urge the LGUs to reinforce the PDITR Plus strategy, or the prevention, detection, isolation, treatment, reintegration, and vaccination. With the advent of continued supply of COVID-19 vaccines in the country, the DOH strictly instructs LGUs to speed up vaccination to prevent the spread of Delta variant. With this concern, the Octa Research Group recommends an anticipatory, preventive, and circuit-breaking lockdown in areas with increased COVID-19 cases to mitigate the further spread of the virus.
We should adapt what Australia and New Zealand are doing now, which is basically go early and go hard. Ulitin ko po, go early and go hard po. So ibig sabihin, meron tayong anticipatory, preventive, circuit breaking lockdowns po. Na ang tingin namin, kung gagawin natin to over the next 2 weeks, hindi lang natin mapapababa yung kaso, hindi lang natin mapapababa yung mahawa at mamatay, masasave pa natin yung economy mo kasi napaka-ikli po ng lockdown na gagawin natin.
Tama naman yun. Sinasangayunan natin itong rekomendasyon ng Octa, kaya walang tigil ang ating makikipag-ugnayan sa mga pamahalaan lokal dahil sila naman ang on-the-ground implementing units para sa ating PDITR Plus strategy.
Meanwhile, the Octa research team projects that the country might have a difficulty in vaccinating the targeted 40 to 50% of Filipinos before the cases of Delta variant worsen in the country.
Yung 40 to 50% na yon, baka hindi pa yan kakayanin within the next month. Most likely by around September to October na mababakunahan yan. And then, pero itong Delta variant, sa nakikita natin, may pagtaas na ng cases. Mukhang mauuna yung Delta variant pero hindi naman ibig sabihin mananalo yung Delta variant against us. We must try to have this victory.
According to Octa, there has already been a COVID-19 surge in NCR due to the increased reproduction rate from 1.33 compared to 1.22 of last week. That is why in the past days, the DOH has recorded an average of 6,000 new cases of COVID-19. Marvin Calas, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Philippines listed 7,186 new COVID-19 cases, bringing the cumulative tally to 1,562,420. In its latest bulletin, the DOH said that the number of active cases in the country went up to 56,477. The agency said that 93.8% of these cases are mild, 1.1% are asymptomatic, 1.58% are moderate, 2.3% are severe, and 1.3% are in critical condition. The DOH noted in its report that 13 accredited testing laboratories failed to submit data on time. Total recoveries rose to 1,478,625 after 5,672 more patients recuperated from the viral disease. The death toll, however, climbed to 27,318 with 72 new fatalities. Data from the DOH also showed that 58% of the country's ICU beds are occupied and 39% of ventilators are being used.
And before we close, we will leave you with the final word, giving glory to God. From the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 7, it says, "Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy." And those are the reasons behind the news, July 17, 2021. I am Herlene Delgado.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold, and because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.